So Krishna simply went in amongst them and he seized Rukmini and he put her on his chariot and he just drove off. Oh, and he had his four, this is where we hear the names of Krishna's four horses. You know, they have names. Does anyone know their names? It's one of those Krishna quiz questions. You know. No. I don't think that's one of them. I don't know them by heart, but I would recognise them if I heard them. They're, I just spotted them when I was reading this ahead. Just for your information, they're beautiful names. Saivya, Sugriva. Oh, Saivya is greenish. Sugriva is greyish, like ice. And the third is Mega Pushpa. What a lovely name. The colour of a new cloud. And the last one is Balahaka, who is ashen coloured. So these are Krishna's four horses. So whenever you see, you know, the picture of Krishna and his chariot, it's not just ordinary horses, it's these four horses who are pulling Krishna's chariot. So with great speed he dashed over, pulled in his chariot, pulled by these four horses, and he took Rukmini, put her on his chariot and left the scene. So all the kings and the princes, having picked themselves up off the ground, because they'd all fell off their horses and elephants, they immediately went in hot pursuit. A terrible fight ensued. And they began to shoot their arrows at the soldiers of Yadu. Just as a cloud, Krishna wasn't alone, he had his army with him. The Yadu dynasty were there. But they were shooting their arrows at the soldiers of Yadu, just as a cloud splashes the face of a mountain with torrents of rain. Gathered on the face of a mountain, a cloud does not move very much, and therefore the force of rain is much more severe on a mountain than it is anywhere else. These descriptions of Krishna's pastimes are so poetic. Because the Vedic culture is a poetic culture. The Vedic literatures are all essentially poetry, filled with beautiful descriptions of natural phenomena, like a cloud, you know, that is clustered on the side of a mountain, and just, you know, the rain gets so heavy because the cloud doesn't have anywhere to go. So in the same way, these belligerent armies, they were gathered around Krishna's chariot and around the Yadu soldiers, and they were raining arrows. So Rukmini was seated in the chariot by Krishna's side, and she saw these arrows raining from the opposing party onto the faces of their soldiers, and full of fear, she began to look on the face of Krishna with a look of deep gratitude that he would take such a great risk for her. Her eyes moving, she appeared to be very sorry. And Krishna could immediately understand her mind. So she's full of fear. That will Krishna be overcome? Will I be overcome? You know, what will become of us? She's sitting in the chariot protected by Krishna, but she's full of fear. And so Prabhupada, when he's describing this pastime, you know, they see Krishna is swallowed by this great demon. The same mood is there, even in Balaram. Momentarily, he's thinking, will Krishna be overcome? Will we all be overcome? Because if we lose Krishna, we'll lose everything. There's a wonderful description in the pastime of Kaliya, when the Kaliya serpent appeared in the lake of the Yamuna. The Yamuna turned into a lake because Kaliya made a big obstruction to the flow of water, so this great poisonous lake developed. And so Krishna dove in, famously, from the Kaliya Ghat, Kaligar as it's called in Vrindavan. He dove in and he began to wrestle with the Kaliya serpent, and at first, for about 2 hours, Krishna was wrapped in the coils of the serpent, and I feared he couldn't move. And all the cowherd boys on the bank of the Yamuna, you know, they were seeing this, stunned. And gradually the news spread through the community, and all the residents of Vrindavan gathered on the bank. Their hearts practically stopped with fear. Nothing else could happen. The whole community ground to a halt, and news spread, everyone came. Is Krishna going to be defeated by this great serpent? And it's described there that Krishna was the life of their life. Prabhupada says in the Krishna book. Krishna was the life of their life. If they would lose Krishna, they would lose their very selves. So Rukmini was thinking also in this way. She was thinking Krishna may be overcome. And Krishna turned to her and he said, "My dear Rukmini, don't worry. Please rest assured that the soldiers of the Yadu dynasty will kill all the opposing soldiers without delay." That was a very bloody battle. And so this happens in Krishna's pastimes in this world. In the spiritual world, we're told that there are no demons, although there are rumors of demons about. But there are actually no demons. But in this world, demons are there. The demons are described by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He describes how there are two natures in this world, the divine and the demoniac, the Sura and the Asura. Sura means good. So the good nature, the goodly nature, and Asura, the ungodly. We could say godly and ungodly. The ungodly nature, essentially, we get from the description of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, very heavy chapter. The essential characteristic of the ungodly is that they are harmful to people. They do harm. That's what the demonic, the ungodly mentality is. That in pursuit of my ambitions, I do harm to others. Well, I mean, none of us are completely good or completely bad. You know, there are different mixtures. But what Krishna describes is this is the demonic nature. This is the divine nature. And the Bhagavad Gita is very, every word of the Gita is just perfectly chosen. You know, there's no accidental words in the Gita. So Krishna doesn't say that there are two kinds of beings, the divine and the demonic. He said there are two kinds of natures. And there are some who are born to accept the demonic nature, and there are some who are born to accept the divine nature. The soul himself, or itself, is neither good nor bad. The soul is transcendental. So having described the demonic nature to Arjuna, Arjuna is a devotee, and a devotee is always introspective, and of course, like any devotee, he's thinking, oh gosh, am I demonic? Maybe I'm demonic. He must have been thinking that because Krishna says to him, don't worry, Arjuna, you were born to the divine nature. So don't worry. We could say the same thing. You know, that naturally a devotee, if one were if I were a genuine devotee, I would think to myself that, you know, I have so many bad qualities. That's the nature of a devotee, to think that. But Krishna said, no, don't worry. You are sent.